Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. My name's Andrew Grossett and welcome back to my channel. Woo! We're getting into it and we're going through it. So, if you have just joined this video series, just been attracted to it because the subject is something you're going through or something you're interested in, whatever the reason it may be, please, I urge you just to hit the stop button now, go back to last week, watch last week's video, and therefore then catch up with this one, and that way the whole sequence will continue to make sense. So we're going through the stages and phases of selling a property. So last week we took some time to get our heads right. We took some time to get our emotions in check, and we also took some time to take a look around our property and make sure that our property is actually fit for purpose and ready for sale. Now we're going to look at the agent selection process. Now, before we get started, yes, there are several different ways and means in which you can sell a property by yourself. You do not have to go through an agency or an agent at all in the slightest. However, unless you have previous experience at selling a property, I would advise that you seek a property professional to act on your behalf in order to not just bring your property to market, but actually conduct the viewings and get the property sold. Look, at the end of the day, there's so much more to selling a property than just showing a property. There's a skill to it, and those of us that do it on a day in and day out basis, and yes, there are variants in between what makes a sort of okay agent to what makes a good agent, but if you can find yourself a good one, yes, there's a fee to pay, but you can save yourself so much in time and actually get so much more in terms of value, as that agent will be able to handle and manage that negotiation process for you, and therefore get the best value out of the sale for you as well. Now, when it comes to selecting an agent, I always say to people, and I said this both in my evaluations and to anyone that asks for advice, don't always go for the cheapest and don't always go for the loudest when it comes to agents. Now, what do I mean by that? The way I look at property sales, it's the people business, really. When it comes to negotiations, it's people getting on with people. And if you've got a brash agent, if you've got an agent that likes to brag, if you've got an agent that thinks they're up themselves and above everybody else, that's how they're coming across to your prospective buyers, and therefore could be putting your prospective buyers off. On the flip side of it, also don't go for the cheapest, because at the end of the day, the age-old rule applies for everything. You get what you pay for. And when things are discounted, don't forget, the more the discount on the percentage is, less the agent is getting paid for doing that process, which ultimately means that they're going to have to do more of the same in order to get the same amount of money, which means less focus on your actual sale, less focus on your property, less actual effort in making sure that the right people are put forward in front of you. Cheap doesn't always mean better in this respect. Yes, pay attention to the percentage and the fee that's being paid. You don't want to end up paying through the nose for something, for a service that's not valid or not right. Don't forget that there's value in value. Take some time to have a look at what these agents' websites look like. Take a look at their pictures. Are their pictures appealing to you? Read through the write-up. Are they articulate in the way in which they've described properties? Does a write-up appear lazy, as in it's a few lines and then that's it? All of these things are indications as to what that agency is capable of, and also, most importantly for me, how they go about doing it. Your agent is an extension of you and your property, and you want to make sure that, just in the same vein as we talked about in the last week's video, that we are putting our best foot forward in terms of pictures. We also want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward in terms of the agents that we're using to represent us and our properties in the sale itself. Just look at it this way. How an agent makes you feel on approach is how they're going to make other people feel on approach to your property. If they're not making you feel at home, if they're not making you feel right, if they're leaving you with reservations, that's exactly what they're going to do with the people that are walking in and applying for your property, and that could also have a bearing as to whether or not they actually want to move forward and put an offer down on your property. So the last point that I want to touch on before we close this video off, obviously we've got our agent now, we've selected them, and hopefully they're doing everything they possibly can to generate as much traction and therefore get as much viewings going on in your property as possible, so that we get to a stage where we've got an offer that we can accept. But I will stress this to you as an owner or as a seller. When it comes to those viewings, please, 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 please do yourself and your agent a favor and do not be there. You may think that you'll be doing your agent and your property a favor because you've got an emotional attachment to it. You may think that you're doing the whole sales process a favor because you know the property inside and out. But trust me, you're not doing either one a favor because you're emotionally attached to the property. On the one side of things for the agent, the last thing that we need is stage fright for one, because your owner's there and you want to make sure you impress them, and therefore you stutter, you stumble, and you're not able to get into your normal flow of things. Number two, the last thing you want as an agent is an owner jumping in saying, oh, by the way, you forgot to say this. Oh, by the way, you forgot to say that. Can I just point out this? You may think you're helping, but really and truly, it's really not. And then also for yourself, as a seller, don't forget, people coming in to purchase your property, one of the first things they're looking for are things that they can use as ammunition to validate them bringing their offer in low. So they are going to kick the tires. They're going to look at the walls. They're going to make comments on things that they see around there. They may even make comments on your decor, your pictures, this, that, and the other. The last thing you want to be there as a seller is sitting there listening to all of that, and therefore making an opinion on the person, and therefore having a negative impact on the potential sale. Remember, this is what we're doing. As I said, remove the emotions out of it. We're looking to sell the property. Once you've sold the property, the person that purchased it, you're not connected to them at all. So therefore, don't get connected to them throughout the viewing process by by being all up in your feelings by what someone's saying as they're walking around your property. At the end of the day, they're playing the game of buying a property. You've got to play the game of selling the property, and it's always best to make sure that we keep the playing field as level as possible for that one, because at the end of the day, what we're after it for is to make sure we preserve a space where a deal can be made. Right, that's me out for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Whew, I'm really enjoying these, and I really hope that they're being useful for yourself as well. Anyway, that's me out for this week. I'll see you in the forwards, and I'll be back next week, and next week we're looking at negotiation. Take care.